So, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here on a novel discussion. And I have Tasha Vaughn as my special guest for
Uh,
today. Now, we're, of course, are promoting the book about someday. And so, of course, I want to help people to have a grander view of the characters themselves and get individuals to talk about real life situations that connect back to elements in the character. And so, the book itself just talks about life choices and decisions that we make and how sometimes that when we are not properly prepared, we can cause our someday that we're all hoping for to sort of be pushed back a little bit because we haven't really prepared
gotcha.
ourselves for them. So that's the whole purpose of it. And so we're going to just jump right on in. Now, Tasha, the question that I always start with is the one question I ask everybody. What comes to your mind when you hear the term someday?
Someday I think about it's a reminder that something's going to take place, it's going to happen. It's
Mhm.
just not in the right now. So it kind of gives me a little hope that okay, try to prepare for it. Um, don't, get discouraged too much because it is going to happen someday.
Okay.
Just not right now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel that people sort of prepare for their someday, or do they just sort of have wishful hopes and thoughts and like, it'll happen?
I think it's both. I think it depends on where you are in life.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes the someday just makes you think like, oh, I don't have to worry about it now because it's going to happen someday. And
Hmm.
then as you get to the point where someday ain't got here yet, like, you know what? Let me start preparing for someday. Maybe that's just me. So yeah.
Okay. So do you believe that sometimes that our own personal plans and goals can hinder us from being able to get close to that concept of someday?
I think so.
Okay. How so?
Um, I think when you're trying to prioritize certain things in your life and you put things in categories, if this thing is in the someday category, but what you're really focusing
Mm,
on are other things, then you lose focus of that. And it's on the back burner because it's someday, but
uh-huh.
it's not your main focus. So it pushes back someday.
Gotcha.
Someday can get further and further away
That's
until
true.
you really, say, okay, I know that's someday, but let me start, prioritizing it now and planning for it.
Okay.
But if
Well, that's
other
good.
goals are in the forefront, you might, yeah, put it on the back burner because someday it's like, I get to it someday. It's going to happen someday. But right now, this is what my goals is what I'm really trying to get through. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, as I spoke to you briefly about one of the characters that I really wanted to talk about, and of course, that's my boy Robert. He is one of the main characters that's in the book. And the reason why I didn't really think about it initially when I initially asked you, like, would you be interested in it? But now that I think about it, it is a major component in it because Robert is a huge music lover. He is like really into jazz and things like that. And some of the, we do mention a couple of characters or real life individuals that he listens to because he's just like really into it. And the thing
Uh,
is, he really loves saxophonists. And for those who may not know, Tasha is
yeah.
an awesome saxophonist. If you ever had a chance
Oh,
and the pleasure to
thank
hear
you.
her play, you're just like, oh my God, she's really brilliant. And so he is just like gun ho into that. If you could think of a theme song for yourself that every time when you walked in a room that it played, what would that theme song be?
Oh my.
I know because there's so many songs out there that you're just like, oh, that's it,
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't even know. Um, what is the I don't know, recently this song, Pretty Girl Rock was in my head. And
Yeah.
I don't know why. Um, but it maybe social media somewhere I've seen it. Are you talking about jazz?
It could be any genre because he's into jazz, but just any it can be jazz if you want to, but any genre that you feel like, hey, if you walked in a room, that would be the song to be playing in the background.
I have a bunch of things that I could choose from that are not coming to mind.
Oh yeah, of course.
Um, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. When I think about when I
I'm
think of the
drawing a
question,
blank.
I think that for me, something would be instrumental. Almost
Uh-huh.
like you can feel it build up to a certain point. You hear them drums coming in the back, and it's just like, oh yeah, something about to happen. I
Hmm.
feels like that's something that will represent me because I love words. Of course, I'm a lyricist by nature, but it's something about when just the beautiful nature of music just playing by itself, it can just set the
Yeah.
atmosphere. And you're just like, oh yeah, I can tell that something major is about to happen, or if it's not major, something significant, you can tell it's about to
Yeah.
enter into the environment because you're just like, okay, okay.
I think two styles of music I think comes like, something jazzy, but like a slow,
Mm,
sultry jazz, or maybe uh something with a Caribbean beat,
oh
tempo.
yes. And those
Um,
steel drums back there.
yeah. So that's what I'm I'm hearing. Yeah.
Cool. I asked that too because I think when Robert finds himself in certain situations, that's sort of what he leans to. He leans to his music to sort of guide his overall think process and how
Hmm.
he's going to function in certain things. So, uh, do you think that
It's really
music,
about a mood,
it that
I would say. So like whatever type of mood that
yes,
I'm in, I hear different music when
mm-hmm,
I walk. And I actually do have music sometimes playing in my head. Like, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it
and
just be
I'm
there.
glad you said mood. I think everybody has like their own personal radio station that's going on in their mind. So especially if you're a lover of music, I should say, you
Yeah.
got your own personal radio just playing out different opportune times, and you can just jam right on by yourself.
Hmm.
So I think that's something that Robert would do. I could definitely see him right now just jamming right by himself. But when you think about the concept of relationships, do you think music can sort of set a tone for a particular relationship?
I think so.
How so?
Everything's in music. I
It
mean, it's
is.
everywhere. It's in everything.
It is. I think even with some of the words that I chose when I talk about certain things, I'm talking about cadences and like the
Hmm.
rapidness of certain things like that. That always reminds me of like a drum and the process of it. So I think that's why people sometimes pair different music inside movies because it sort of go ahead and
Right.
prepares you like, oh my God, it's building up, or oh, this is about to take place or something like that. So I think it
Hmm.
sort of helps it to guide your curiosity and things like that nature.
Yes.
Okay.